Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker and today we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of lists that won a Stitch Enchanted promo in the Lorcana Set Championships. Usually when I do coverage for Top Cut deck lists, I do them event by event, but I've said a couple of times in my last couple of videos, my plan for the Set Championships is just to get as many of the lists as possible as I can and then just do 2, maybe 3 videos across the course of the Set Championship time period where I'll just look at a whole bunch of them at once. As a lot of you know, I've been really busy lately. I had a house move and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in my personal life behind the scenes. So instead of going to inkdecks.com and exporting all the decks manually as I usually would, I sent out a tweet asking if people could make my life 100 times easier, and if you want a Stitch, to post the list on that Twitter thread. Let me know the store, of course, so I can verify it. And I got an awful lot of responses. Lots of people were happy to post their list here, so I'm very, very thankful for that. I also got a bunch of emails. I said in a previous video, if you win a Stitch, email me with the list. And I've had quite a few emails doing that, and also a lot of really nice comments, people saying, thanking me for the content, saying it helped a lot, and that just made me feel fantastic. So if you feel like you've gotten something out of this channel, out of my content, that you feel has contributed towards your knowledge of the game, your skill of the game, whatever it is, then I'm very pleased to hear that. But yeah, very grateful to everyone that took the time to comment with their list. There may be some people that have posted their list that I might not get to in this particular video just because there are a lot. I've had nearly 100 lists come my way. So I want to look at as many as I can today, but I still want to break it up a little bit. So if you have already posted your list and I don't look at it today, don't worry. Expect it probably to be looked at in the next video. And of course, there's still plenty of time left to win. Well, I say plenty of time. There's some time left to win Enchanted Stitches, so there will be many more. So please, by all means, if you win a Stitch, please either, if you follow me on Twitter, find the post where I've asked for deck lists and post it there, or send me an email, lorcanavillain@gmail.com. I also had the pleasure of being invited onto the YouTube channel of fellow content creators at the Illumateers, who I'm a big fan of. They do fantastic content. They contribute a lot to the community. They're also the first ever guests on the Disney Lorcana Lorecast. So yeah, it's the second time I've been invited onto their show, but this time it was me as the only guest. And yeah, we had a long talk about the Set Championships, looked at a bunch of deck lists, and then we did a bit of villain Disney trivia at the end. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, it will be linked down below. And I myself competed in my first public Set Championship. If you've already know my channel, then you may know that I had the pleasure of being invited to a media-only early Set Championship ran by Ravensburg at the Disney Store in London, the first Set Championship in the world. And I was fortunate enough to win that. I got the champion mat and I got the Stitch, and I was obviously very pleased. But obviously I wanted to try and prove myself to myself in a public forum, and I've only got one Set Championship that I was able to attend, just because I don't have the time to be able to go to any others. But yeah, I went to a public one at Dark Sphere, which had 29 players, and I'm very happy to say that I achieved 2nd place. We did 5 rounds of Swiss, best of 3, as I said, 29 players, and yeah, it was good. I felt like I had a really good day. Obviously, I'm aware, winning a Set Championship with only 8 people, though I'm still very proud of it, obviously is much smaller field, so I wanted to do well into a bigger field, and yeah, we did really well. I was first seed after 5 rounds of Swiss. I didn't concede a single game until my game 5, where I played, I don't know if this is Hay or How, but wonderful person, wonderful player. We had a good old chat. Yeah, my round 5, that was a Ruby Amethyst mirror match, and we drew 1-1 and then went to time. We didn't ID, we played it out. But yeah, that was my first game loss of the day. And then top 8, I 2-0'd, top 4, I 2-0'd, and then I lost in the finals, won 1 game. But yeah, I was really happy with, across the course of the day, I had a 14-3 record. I played the exact same deck list that I played at my first Set Championships, good old-fashioned Ruby Amethyst Queen's Control, which I talked about in my Set Championship video, and obviously we're going to look at a lot of Ruby Amethyst lists today. But yeah, I didn't make any changes. The only thing I think I really want to change is I want to add a 9th 1-drop, because in my final game, I was against Emerald Steel Discard. I missed my 1 and my 2-drop on game 1 and on game 3, and I think their first opener was Merfolk Flynn, and I think their second opener, their game 3 opener was Hook Flynn, something like that, at which point it's just too late from there. So it really hurt to miss the 1 and 2 drops in those particular games, but over the course of my day I did see them regularly. But every game that I did win and saw my 1 drop, I felt like that 1 drop was imperative, and the game probably lived and died by me hitting it. So I think I want to move to the 9th 1 drop, whether or not I want it to be a mini, to be a 5th 1/3, or play the 1 Chernobog's Followers, that's to be decided. But yeah, really happy to come second. I got my second Stitch, I've got my second playmat. They are still both sealed, which I plan to do. I'm just going to keep them sealed. This is my investment. I don't ever really want to part with the champion one, but I could see myself parting with the blank one, but I'm not going to open it and play with it. I've got the chapter 1 Maleficent mat. I prefer that. That's until I get another villain, then that's my playmat that I will actually play with. So I'm going to keep them sealed, which I imagine not a lot of people will do. Obviously I've got the 2 Stitches. I may part with 1 in time, but at the moment the price for that they're selling for isn't enough for what I would want. So, and I think after they drop a bit, they've already started to drop the Stitch prices, but I think after Set Championships are done, maybe not weeks or months, but I think down the line they are going to creep back up. But yeah, very brief look at my run. Round 1, I was against actually a friend, Andrew, who I've met a couple of times at events at Dark Sphere. Really, really nice guy. Really, really good player. He was on Sapphire Steel. We both misplayed game 1, but he told me after the match that his misplay, he fishbone inked a whole new world when he really shouldn't have, because he just couldn't get back into the game after that. And I was able to 2-0 him, but they were tough games. A really good player, and he ended up making top 4 anyway. Round 2, I was against Barry, who was a really, really nice guy. He was playing Ruby Sapphire Dime. I was lucky enough to 2-0 that game as well, but he also made top 4. So my first 2 round opponents were both people that made top cut. Round 3, Ray is their username here. I don't know if that's their real name, but they were a reviewer. Really, really nice guy. We had a really nice chat. They were on the Emerald Steel discard deck. Game 1 was pretty tense, pretty close. They did empty my hand, and I was kind of living and dying by my top decks. Luckily, I managed to come through, and game 2, they just weren't really able to set up, and by the time they were able to get like a Robin Hood down to start questing, I had Pinocchios, and I just had enough for hand to deal with it. But really nice guy. It was a good game. Round 4, someone I'd never met. That was a mirror match, Ruby Amethyst Control. I was able to 2-0 them. I remember in game 2, I feel like they really bricked, because their turn 3 was they hard paid with ink for friends on the other side, and then I think turn 4 they did the same thing, so they had a really slow start. Game 1 was pretty close and tense, but yeah, we were able to take the 2-0, and then round 5, as I mentioned, against Hal, really, really nice guy, really strong play. It was a completely silent game. There was a couple of people watching us because we were the top seeds in round 5, the only undefeated players, and yeah, just complete silence as we played through. Like, you could cut the tension with a knife, but he was a really nice guy. We had a good between games. We were both very smiley, very laughy, very chatty. A lot of respect sent both ways. So yeah, really strong games, and that was a 1-1. And then we started game 3. We were playing really quickly. We had like 7 minutes, and we did our best to reach a conclusion, but it ended up being a draw. But that was fine. And then moved into top 8, where I played Velvet Mamba, who we're actually going to look at what his list today, because he managed to win a different set championship. Top 8 is the one I played, and then he won a different one with a really, really spicy list, so we're going to look at that. But yeah, we had a couple of really good, strong games. Game 2, I was able to top a Tremaine at the right time to close the match. But we'll have a proper look at their deck, because they were running Emerald Amethyst, but with the Peddler, the Hag Peddler, and yeah, some spice, so we'll look forward to getting to that. Round top 4, I played again against Barry Smith with the red-blue Ruby Dime deck. Once again, I was able to take a 2-0. I've practiced a lot against red-blue, so I know the matchups quite well, and yeah, was able to do really well. And then, as I said in the finals, I just missed my 1 and 2 drops. And they were a very good player, though. Like, they'd done really well to get to the finals. They had a really good score themselves. But yeah, felt bad, but they deserved it, and yeah, it was a really good day. Right, okay, let's move along. That section's gone on way longer than I wanted it to, and let's move to some deck lists that won some stitches. I've got a lot of lists to look at. We're going to be going through every card. We're mainly just going to be pinpointing differences between deck lists of the same inks, and how that might help or hinder into certain matchups in the meta. Overwhelming, again, I'm only showing lists today that have been sent to me. I haven't done any research on inkdecks.com, and there's a lot of lists that I haven't got, but I've been sent nearly 100. I've got a good idea of the field and the decks that won, and overwhelmingly the first place list in terms of just sheer numbers that are winning stitches is good old-fashioned Ruby Amethyst Control. I do want to highlight Eric Switzer of The Gamer, who, to the best of Lorcana community knowledge, no one has said he's wrong, is the first person to win an entire playset of Rockstar Stitches, which is a fantastic accomplishment. Huge congratulations to him. And his deck list is very, very similar to what I'm playing. The only differences are they are -1 Be Prepared, and they're playing the 1 Scar, which does help into a heavy Emerald meta. Obviously, it gives you better odds that you're not going to draw back into that Be Prepared when they throw down Ursa the Deceiver. So that's good. Scar could just be good against Emerald anyway, just as the sort of like one-sided Be Prepared. I like Scar. I'm not sure I'm ready to commit him into my deck yet, but you'll see him a lot in these Ruby Amethyst lists, and the feedback from players that played him, they really liked the Scar. So maybe I do just need to try it out. But yeah, that's one difference. There are -1 friends on the other side, +1 Crab. I really like the 4th Crab. Crab's a fantastic card. Again, the -1 friends again is going to help against Ursa Deceivers. Hopefully just lower the odds that they're going to get a hit off against you, because you could ink your friends and then draw into another one before they Ursula a bit like... Yeah, it's just better to lower the odds of you having songs, but at the same time, I can never comfortably go to anything less than a 4/4 of Friends or Be Prepared. I think Friends just helps you do what you want to do as the Ruby Amethyst control player, which is just a build card advantage and have more options. It can safeguard you a little bit more against discard decks, which I do think is one of the trickier matchups for Ruby Amethyst Control. And with the free Be Prepared, it's not the first time we're seeing it. We've seen it quite a lot, especially the last couple of weeks, people drop into the 3. But I don't know, like even if they do end up sniping an early Be Prepared from me, I want to know that there's still enough more in the deck that I can dig for them. And if you're playing against things that are like Sapphire Steel, Whole New World variants, then if they get rid of an early Be Prepared, again, those Be Prepareds are really important in those matchups when they start playing their Gastons, their Stout-Hearted Cinderellas, and flooding the board with these big, annoying characters. So I just like having the 4 count of Be Prepared. Also, if I was playing this 3-1 split, if I was ever desperately digging for the Be Prepared and hit the Scar, I would just tilt so hard, because like in my head, I'm like, that Scar should be the 4th Be Prepared. But yeah, still deck listed really well, a really fantastic record for Eric. The other difference is they're playing 1 more mini over the Maleficent, which I think is fine. I think mini's an important piece, especially in the mirror, because if you're in the mirror and they put down their mini on turn 3, you want to see yours as quickly as possible so that you can have a combo piece with Crab to take out theirs before they get too much advantage off of it. So yeah, a couple of very small differences, but by and large very similar lists, so that's good to see. I think that's a strong case made for this build of Ruby Amethyst Control. This, mine, a happy spot between the two, whichever suits your player preference, is a good deck to take into set championships. And yeah, there's a whole bunch more to look at. So yeah, all of these are Ruby Amethyst Control decks, some of which have come from very established top players. There's some top players that haven't revealed their deck lists yet, which is fair enough. But yeah, we'll just take a brief look through. We're not going to go into too much detail individually. We're just going to look at key differences. We see a couple of people still playing the fish hooks, which are good for the mirror. I've gone off of them. I don't think you need them. You can still deal with evasive through mini and Crab. You can hit the bigger nut. Crab just does so much of the work that Maui's fish hook does. And playing this into steel decks with Bengers, it's never going to feel good. So I like the fish hook, but I've moved away from it. We're seeing a 3/3 of Medusa and Tremaine here, which we'll see a lot, and I think is fine. 2/2 has felt absolutely fine for me. You've just got to be careful about when you play them, and again, you can bounce them. We're seeing 3 Teeth and Ambitions here, which obviously helps against aggro. Really good for the Cursed Merfolks. Obviously before they've quested, just stop them questing. It can also be used in combination with mini to take out their mini if you don't hit the Crab. Yeah, lots of players like the teeth. I'm not a big fan of the teeth, but still something that comes up a lot in these deck lists. We've got another one here on the 3B prepared. Just one copy of Pinocchio. I like the 1-drops here, 4 Rafiki, and then 5 1-3s, 3 Olaf, 2 Mini. I think that's really good. I think I'm tempted to lean towards that myself. We've got the hook here. We're seeing one copy of the Spellbook, which is good in the mirror, but I think bad into the field. So I've cut the Spellbook from mine, but again, we'll see it come up quite a lot. Only 3 Kuzcos here, 3 Minis, 3 Mali, 3 Crab, a 2-3 split of the ladies, which I think is fine. I think a 3-2 is... 2-2 has felt enough for me, but I think 3-2 is fair enough, and you just go with Tremaine or Medusa based on your preference. I think if you weren't running Minis, you would go the 3rd card Tremaine, so you've got another 2 Lorquester, but with Minis, I think the 3rd bit one being a Medusa sounds pretty good. We've got this one here by Dick, who is a established player. They've got a lot of good tournament records so far, and they are playing the 4 copies of Archimedes, which is some spice. I don't know why. Let me know, Dick. I mean, I just feel like I would, if I'm happy, I don't mind, like the 2-2 stat line is fine. I think I would just play Chernabog, because then you're still hitting the 2 to take out things like opposing Rafikis if they want, like, or at least check them from questing, take out the Kuzcos. Obviously, the Chernabog into Kuzco is an interaction where you would be banished as well as them, so I suppose Archimedes, you can take out Kuzcos and live. But I think more often than not, if I was going to go with not a 1-3, then my other 1-drop would be the Chernabog's followers. But Dick, if you're watching, I will look out for your comment and telling me why I'm wrong. But hey, style points for sure. Love me some Archimedes. The 2 hook here again, 3B prepared. This is Empty Apartment, a very established player, quite often high on the online leaderboard. 3-3 of ladies. Again, they're a good player. They're saying they like the 3-3. We're seeing the Scar here again. 4 friends though, 3 Crab. And yeah, that 5 1-3s and 4 Rafiki. So yeah, I think that's probably the right way to go. We've looked at Eric's. We've got another build here, which is 3-3 of ladies, 3 Teeth and Ambitions. Just 7 1-drops here, which is definitely rare. Hey, if it was they made top 2, so it was enough for them on that day. But I'm 8 isn't enough for me anymore. I want 9. We're seeing 2 copies of Prince Eric here, which obviously combos with the Teeth and Ambitions. This is in a different language. How did that happen? Anyway, Prince Eric, he's fine. Again, I'm not a big fan. You don't see him in a lot of Ruby Amethyst control decks, but he is a good card. And obviously found value on this particular day. Once again, we're seeing a 2-2 of ladies. Only 2 Queen's Castle. Queen's Castle, again, I said this for my Disney Lorcana Set Championship, and the same is true of my Dark Sphere one. Queen's Castle, Pinocchio, Crab, absolute MVPs. 1 copy of Jim Hawkins here with only 3 copies of Castle. Not sure if this is worth, to be honest, if you're not on at least 4 Castle. Obviously, was enough to get them a Stitch. We're seeing 1 Maleficent Dragon in here as well. Not a common thing in Ruby Amethyst lists for these set championships. It's fine. I just think you don't, like, I didn't always get to the 9 ink point, to be honest. And even if I did, I often did more out of a turn 9 than just play Maleficent, like Tremaine plus Fox, or bouncy things, or Castle and move things to Castle. So, but Mali Dragon comes up a couple more times, I believe. We've got a winner here on the Surfer Minis, that same 1-drops that I was playing. The 3 Pinocchio I like. There was a couple of games that I played where I was like really digging for Pinocchio and kind of wishing I was playing the 3rd. So I do like 3, just 1 Pinocchio here, 2-3 of ladies. We're seeing the Spellbook, 4 Crab, 4 Mini Stylish Surfer coming up more often than not. A weird split of 1-drops, but hey, if you just want to rep them both, then by all means, be my guest. A 3-2 of ladies again, just 3 be prepared, but no Scar in here. Everything else pretty standard. A 2-2 of ladies, the Spellbook popping up again. We are seeing the 4 Rafiki, 4 Olaf, and 1 Chernabog's followers, which I think is fine. 3 Mali, 4 Crab. Again, 9 1-drops, 4 Rafiki, 3 Mini, and 1 Chernabog. Only 3 Kuzco, 2 Pinocchio, 3 Crab, 4 Mali. So yeah, these are sort of variants counts. The Mali, the Crab, and the Mini. Which, what, are you playing 4 of all, or are you playing only 3 of one of them or more? 6 ladies, once again, only 3 be prepared. So quite common for only 3 be prepared. We're seeing only 2 be prepared in this list. That would, I would never feel good about that. But rest of it looks pretty nice. 9 1-drops, good. 2 Pinocchio, Pinocchio, I like the 4 Kuzco, only 2 Mali for 4 Mini, 3 Crab, 1 Jim Hawkins in here. I think it's fine with 4 Castle if that's what you want to do. It can make you a bit more offensive. A 2-2 split of ladies. Yeah, I'm not a fan of just 2 Be Prepared, but again, it was enough for them on this day. 2-3 of ladies, the Spellbook again. Yeah, this all looks pretty similar. So we're not seeing a lot of variance between lists, like the 3 drop counts between your minis, your crabs, and your maleficents. Your ladies 2-2, 2-3, or 3-3. Teeth and Ambitions occasionally. A split between 9 and 8 1 drops, and then obviously some people are playing more Be Prepared. This is the first time we're seeing Yzma in these lists so far, so she's definitely fallen off. 2-2 ladies. The 8-1 drops looks good. 3 mini, a 3-1 split of Tremaine and Medusa. I think with minis, this should probably be 2-2 in my opinion. But hey, it did well for Scoot Phase. Well done. RA Sports is in the game. Don't work for this deck, man. It's EA Tempo. But well done, buddy. Well done on getting you a Stitch. We've got Teddy from Glimmer Gang. Again, pretty standard. 3-3 ladies, running the Teeth and Ambitions. 4 Be Prepared, only 3 Castle. We're seeing the 1 Scar here and on top of the 4 Be Prepared. 3-2 of ladies with the emphasis on Medusa. 1 Maleficent Dragon. So yeah, very rare Maleficent Dragons coming up in these lists. This looks 2 Scars in this particular list. Wow, this is first place as well. Wow, that's interesting. If you're watching Zappies, are you happy with this 2 Scar? Are you keeping that? Would you lower it? Let us know. I'd love to see it. And I think that's all the Ruby Amethyst list. We did it, guys. We got through them all. So yeah, the flex spots seem to be the 3 drops, the Crab, the Maleficent, and the Stylish Surfer. By flex, I mean just in terms of count. You want to be playing... Well, some people not playing any Stylish Surfer minis, but I'm a fan of the minis. And then, yeah, preference on the ladies. And then do you want to run the Teeth? Do you want to run the Monstrous Dragon? Do you want to run the Jim? But yeah, a lot of Ruby Amethyst lists doing it really, really well. So congratulations to all of them. I'm going to move straight on to, I think this is the second most decks that I've received. Ruby Sapphire really well positioned going into set championships, especially because there was a lot of hype behind from a lot of the top players in Sapphire Steel and Steel Amber songs, which Red Blue just plays really, really well into, because you're ramping, they're refreshing your hand more often than not with the whole new world. They don't have to, like the better Steel players will rely, or if they're playing Amber, they'll rely on Rapunzel and Stitch, Surfer Stitches, or they'll try and rely on Beast Tragic Hero, but if they can't go that route and they need to play the whole new world just to like keep them in the game, because don't forget we can still draw through Flavisham, sometimes that can be enough. So yeah, Red Blue just plays really well into those decks, so a lot of hype behind Ruby Sapphire, and yeah, I've received a lot of lists. Seeing Queen of Hearts here for the aggro, Tamatoa obviously one of our big questers. I think we need to see a rise in Amber decks playing World's Greatest Criminal Mind, because this Tamatoa is just beastie. 3 Maleficent obviously because we're ramping, 4-1 jump ahead. We've got the Be Prepared. We've got all the control stuff. 4-1 split of ladies here with Grandma Tala for the card draw, help us find key pieces. A couple of Judy Hops to get rid of opposing dimes in the mirror. The Fishbone Quills in the mirror. Spellbooks, flutes, all that jazz. Scars again putting in a lot of work, helping with your board clear. And again, all these characters can just be, we can immediately tilt our dime to gain their lore, which is really nice. 1 Shield of Virtue here to be an additional 1 drop, and again the ability of Shield of Virtue can be pretty great. Let us keep our Flavisham safe, or just any of our important characters. The 2 McDuck Mana, I think that's a bit of a low counter for how good this card is, but still here, still has a presence. 2 copies, just fantastic. If you get this down and they can't deal with it, it's going to generate a lot of lore. 1 copy of Heart of Tefiti here, which I'm not a huge fan of. It can generate value, especially because the advantage of this over Fishbone Quill is that it doesn't deplete your hand. But I've never had a Heart of Tefiti be put down against me and fought anything other than few. That was underwhelming. But yeah, Red Blue really well positioned. Let's look through. We've got a lot to go through, so let's continue. Yeah, that previous list opting not to run Belle, which is really interesting. Oh, we need to focus on one of the newest additions to the deck, and in some decks is replacing the Gaston, is How Far I'll Go. Forecast Uninkable. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, one into your hand and the other into your inkwell. So you're finding a piece, you are ramping, and it's a song, so we can do that searching without digging into our ink for the turn, and it's really easily sung by Tala, Flavisham, Maui, and anything above. So yeah, I like the addition of How Far I'll Go. Some lists have cut the Gaston for it because, like, Gaston's good because the stat line's respectable, and questing for 3 is good because it's an immediate 3-lore bump off of Lucky Dime. But you didn't play it just for that. That alone wouldn't have been enough. It was the search. It was helping to find your combo pieces. And if we can do that with How Far I'll Go, you don't necessarily need the Gastons anymore. You just rely more on your Tamatoas, your Scars, your Tremaines, your Maleficents. But yeah, this person opting to still include the Gastons. I'm seeing Bells in this particular deck, which I think is, like, if I was running this, I would absolutely be playing 2 or 3 Bell. Her combined with Lucky Dime can just close games out of nowhere. But yeah, this looks largely similar. No Shield of Virtue in here. 2-2 split of ladies. All in on the Queen of Hearts here, really doesn't want to lose to aggro. All in on the Bells as well, which I really like. 2 Cogsworth as well here, giving resist and annoying to deal with the wards. 2-2 of ladies, the 4 Gaston, know how far I'll go here. We are seeing 1 Fish Hook, going to help with locations and make us evasive and annoying. Once again, only 2 McDuck mana. We're seeing 4 copies of Hades. That seems a lot. You see Hades in some decks because, like, you really need... it's just nice to have more removal. But 4 Hades seems a lot. I mean, again, it's another character, which is always good to apply board pressure, and it's a character that we can combine with Lucky Dime and get value from. But being uninkable, that seems high. And 2 Let It Go as well, but did very well for this particular player. Looking at this list, the most spice we see here is 1 copy of Dinner Bell. Exert and banish one of your characters and draw cards equal to the damage on them. So... yeah, kind of spicy. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan, but hey, it won you a stitch, so well done there. A couple of Gastons in this list, which is, I don't hate by any means. Gaston's still good. Hitting for 4 on a 2-cost character is nice, so it gives us a bit more... yeah, this deck's going to have a much better early game with the 4 Queen of Hearts and the Gaston. 2 Mao's Fish Hook in here. We're seeing the Shield of Virtue. Just 2 copies of 1 Jump Ahead. 4 copies of Medusa and no Tremaine, I think is novel. But we got the Gastons, we got the Scars, we got the Tamatoas. We should have enough characters to work with Dime. 3 Hades in this list. A 2-1 split of ladies. 2 Hearts of Defeaties coming up again. 3 Bell. Seeing Grandma Tala, who doesn't always pop up, but I'm a fan of her, especially because she can sing 1 Jump Ahead. 2 copies of Fish Hook. Once again, a Heart of Defeatee. 2-2 split of ladies. 3 Hades again. Did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo on Ruby Sapphire and the use of Hades? I seem to have. Again, 2 Hades. In half the 3 copies of How Far I'll Go here. No Gastons, which again I think is fine if you're playing this. 2 copies of Shield of Virtue. So like if you miss your 1-drop item, then that really sucks. 3 Mana Medusa, 2 Scar. Again, the Shield of Virtue. 2-2 ladies. 3 Gaston. Know How Far I'll Go here. 1 Fish Hook. 2 Bell. 4-1 splits of the ladies. Yeah. Sure. 2 Let It Go, no Hades, I like that. The 4 How Far I'll Go again. Just the 4 Porp, no additional 1-drop items. 2 extra Shield of Virtues in this deck though. 4 1 Jump Aheads. The 3 How Far I'll Go, no Gaston. 3 Bell, 3 Queen of Hearts, 4 1 of Ladies. Oh, this is quite a common split, to be fair. A lot of people have got this same wavelength. Next one here, 4 1 of Ladies. Once again, okay, maybe this is the right split for this particular deck. The How Far It Goes, no Gastons. 2 Let It Go. The traditional counts of pretty much everything else. Where this deck back to the Gastons, only 2 copies. No How Far It Goes. A 2-2 of Ladies. 1 Mickey Mouse Detective, who isn't coming up very much in these red-blue decks, but hopefully putting in some work here. 2 McDuck Mana again. How many of these decks are only running? A lot of them aren't running any. And to be fair, all the ones that are running McDuck Mana are only running 2. So I guess the more experienced red-blue players have just come round to that is the right count. We see 3 here for the first time. 3 Little Rocket Stitch, who I really like. Again, gives you a bit of a better earlier game. It helps your maths for taking out locations, although we are running 2 Maui's Fish Hook. But again, this is going to help with the early aggro, along with our Queen of Hearts. We've got 4 Develop Your Brain, which has fallen off in popularity. I still like it to find your combo pieces at the right times. A 4-3 of Ladies, that's quite a large count. 4 Gastons, know How Far I'll Go. Moving on to Taris. This is Lore Seekers Pro, I believe, the YouTube channel. They seem to have had a lot of success lately. And yeah, this is pretty spicy. We've got the 4 McDuck Mana. We've got the 4 Agrabah, which I really, really like. I really want to go back to my early early set red-blue location control deck. Which was like these and RLS Legacy and Motonui. But this one, a bit of a balance between location and character synergy. No lucky dimes in here. Seeing the 2-0 to hide, which is nice. Information is always good. 2 Dragon's Fire, along with the 2/2 Lady. So lots of removal, of course, on top of our Maleficent Dragons. 2 Let It Goes and 2 Hades. 3 Queen of Hearts for the early game. The Talas as well, to sing 1 jump ahead. I think this is underrated. Talas for search. Yep, this deck looks really, really nice. I really like the aggro, but Monopoly Burn, that's a cool name for it. Well done to you. 2 Shield of Virtue here. 4 1 jump ahead. We've got the Gastons, but know how far I'll go. 2/2 Ladies. Seeing the Judy Hops here for the item removal. Looks good, looks good. Z Peters, 4/1 of Ladies. Once again, 2 Bell. The Fish Hook coming up again. 3 How Far I'll Go. No Gaston. So that's one of the most common differences you're seeing between red and blue decks. Do you go with the How Far I'll Goes or do you go with the Gastons? But yeah, that's all the Ruby Sapphire deck, so we're making progress. Well done to all of you. Let's move on. Let's do Amethyst Steel. Not as many of these decks, but I still think this was a well-positioned deck going into set championships. Not seeing many Jafar variants. Mostly I'm just seeing good old-fashioned Amethyst package, along with the stuff that Steel offers, like Robin Hood. Although this deck isn't even running the Tinkerbell. We've got Captain Hook, some Robin Hood line. I like the Captain Hook, an extra 1-drop. We've got a traditional Amethyst package, Snake, Fox, 3 Crab, 4 Rabbit, 4 Goat. 1 copy of Rafiki here, which I'm assuming is right. Last time I saw this Rafiki, it was a mistake, and it should have been the 1-drop Rafiki. So maybe put a pin in that. If you're watching this person, is this correct, or should this be the Mystical Fighter? But even if it is this one, I don't hate it. I still quite like Rafiki. 4 Smee's really good. 3 Pinocchio, I bet that helped. 2 Baboom, no Fire the Cannons. 4 Along Came Zeus, I think is a really good count. This is such an important piece. Benja for the items. Queen's Castle's the spell book. Yeah, just really mid-range. I think I'd like Tinks in here, but I'm sure they had their reasons, but well done to them. Once again, no Tinks. Maybe I'm really off the mark about Tink. 1 copy of Bosses on a Roll here to obviously be able to manipulate our deck, control our draws a bit more, which is nice. And then the +1 to Lore isn't bad. Pretty similar to the deck we saw before. I'm very surprised to not see the Tinkerbell. Next up, Nomlix, very, very good player in the same testing group as me. We've seen the Tragic Hero here. Grab your swords. So hoping to have a better game into Emerald decks. We are seeing the 4 Tinks, 2 Fire the Cannons over the Babooms, 3 Captain Hoods. We've seen the 4 Blue Fairy to work with this bigger Floodborn package, 2 Maleficents. Good, good, good. Once again, no Tinkerbell. I'm off the mark about this one, guys. 1 Spellbook, 2 Storm Rage on. We're seeing 3 Smash here, which I think is nice to see come back. Immediately deal with a lot of things like aerials, and I don't think aerial and dock was all that prominent over the decks I've looked at so far. I don't know, I just still like Smash, but maybe it isn't necessary, but did well for this person, so well done. This is more the Bivens build, the aggro version. No Arthur's in here, but we've got the bodyguard package, the biding time Maleficents, Befuddle to offset their tempo. Yeah, I definitely want Arthur in here. I feel like Arthur gets a lot of value, but deck looks good. Here is a Jafar package we're seeing at last. The Blue Fairy to complement our Floodborns, and then yeah, the 2 Royal Vizier. We're seeing 1 Keeper of Secrets, which I think is a bit random, but hey, if you do have a big hand, then value. 2 Tiny Tink to shift onto, the 4 Dreadnought, which is the most common shift target for our Striking Illusionist, and then pretty standard Rise of the Titans to deal with those locations. 1 Fire the Cannons is a nice on the draw turn 1 against things like Robin Hoods, etc, etc. 2 Along Came Zeus, 2 Swords, and then the Whole New World obviously to refresh and work really well with the Jafar for an insta win. Also 1 Hard-Headed Beast for the items, and yeah, that's all the Amethyst Steel decks that I've got to look at so far, so well done to all of you. Let's try and push on, get through as many more of these as we can, moving into EA Tempo. Just win the game. This wasn't sent to me by Artabax, but the player that sent it to me just credited it to Artabax. Just completely neck decked them, and this is the deck that they got second place with at not the last pack event, the one before, one of the recent large online tournaments. And we did an interview with Artabax talking all about the list. That will be linked down below if you want to go back and watch that. But this player also led the same list to victory. Or the Amethyst package, just Goat, Rabbit, Fox, Snake, Mally. These are all good cards. We've got the Flynn Folk package for the aggressive questing and to disrupt their hand. Ursula, who's going to get a ton of value off of friends on the other side, and Mother Knows Best. Easema for some board control, or just to send back our own characters and just draw more cards. Kick Cloud Kicker to offset our opponent's board. Ursula to get rid of those important songs. And Queen's Castle, played at the right time, is just game ending. So yeah, this deck, doesn't surprise me to see this deck once again doing really well. We've got another version here who's playing the Pascals, which is a nice... with these Pascals, I think one of the... Pascal is good just because he can cheat out lore, obviously, being evasive, but if you're going to run this, run a higher counter Crab, because then that's such a good answer to opposing Stylish Surfer minis. Although, to be fair, we're playing Lol Tiberius Rourke, who can give Reckless to that Stylish Surfer mini, so that's going to annoy her. And to be fair, Kick Cloud Kicker just bounces her off the field, so maybe we just don't need to worry about that as much. 2 Genies here for some more board tempo and to be an evasive quester, and we're also playing 4 copies of Sudden Chill to go with the Ursula and benefit from her double sing to get a double discard, and 2 copies of Prince John if we are making them discard through Sudden Chill, Ursula, or just them challenging into the Flim Folk. Then Prince John's going to get us some value. We've got Wildcat as a nice tech for the items like Fishbone Quills, Dimes, all that annoying stuff. And yeah, Lol Tiberius Rourke, just a nice control option for this deck, so you'd love to see it. We're seeing 1 copy of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo here, who's obviously going to get like double sing that with Ursula, and then suddenly you're doing so many bounces with rabbits and goats, which is going to get you a lot of value, or Maleficents. So that's nice. 1 Peter Pan here. I think this is a bit random. It does deal with the Stylish Surfer mini as a 1. 1 Tink, 1 Peter Pan. Don't know, I'd probably commit one way or the other, but everything else here looks really, really nice. 2 Genies again, 2 Tink. Once again, seeing the 2 Wildcat. Don't know what happened here, but Kick Cloud Kicker. Maybe this is wrong, and then one of these cards is showing up wrong. But yeah, Kick Cloud Kicker definitely making an appearance. 3 Crab. Once again, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, hoping to get a lot of value off of Ursula, or even without Ursula, you can get value off of bouncing your Goat, your Rabbit, your Genie, your Crab, your Maleficent, all that jazz. And now we move, here we go. So this is Velvet Mamba. This is the player that I mentioned earlier when I was talking about my own run that I played in top 8s. Another player from Darksphere, well, not from Darksphere, but I met at Darksphere, who I've met a couple of times. Really, really nice guy. They beat me in a sealed event, the Into the England sealed event. So I'd already met them, and I knew that they were a good player. So I was pretty nervous going into this game, and I didn't even know what that, like, we'd been talking throughout the day, and at no point did I find out what they were playing. So yeah, didn't know, and then I started to see the EA Tempo stuff, and then my man dropped the Peddler, and I was like, spice, I love it. Yeah, some of you may remember if you've been on the channel for a while, when Rise of the Floodborn came out, this was the first deck I profiled. I did like 10 decks to play, or 5 decks to play the Queen Peddler. She wasn't great, she's gotten better in set 3, and yeah, led on my at my tournament, led Velvet Mamba to a top 8 finish, but then they went to another tournament which they actually won, and this list that I'm showing now is their winning list. When they played me, there are a few differences. They were playing the Ursa Deceiver of All to work with the friends on the other side, and they were playing Mother Knows Best. So after that Darksphere event, they made a few changes, and this was what the deck ended up looking like. But yeah, we're running 4 Robin Hood, which is fine anyway. Like we're an aggro deck really. So being able to put Robin Hood down at the right time is just have an answer for me, or I'm questing for game. We've got Madam Min Purple Dragon, who again, if we can get her down, then deal with me, or I'm questing for game. And I've got evasive as well, so I'm even harder to remove. And I survive Medusa, and I survive Along Came Zeus. I do fall to the world's greatest criminal mind, but I'm still hard to remove. But even by just playing her, if you're bouncing back an Ursula, a Maleficent, a Crab, the Queen after you just exerted her and used her ability to keep her safe, the Goat, the Rabbit, all these things are good. And of course we can discard them with the Queen and immediately gain lore. So pretty spicy. 3 Kuzco's here as well, put in some work. And yeah, we had a couple of really good games. And yeah, I'm really happy to see the Peddler do well. She's probably on the thumb now. So yeah, nice to see a different version of EA Tempo doing well. A more traditional one here, one Pinocchio as a nice tech to answer opposing boards. 2 Yzma, everything looks pretty traditional in this particular list. Move on to Abracadabra, who is playing a much more aggro package. We've got 3 Biding Her Times, 2 Pinocchio Talkative Puppet. Man, this earlier. Imagine missing your 1 and 2 drops against this. Good grief. I would cry all the way home. Like, we've got our Flynn Folk, 4/4 Flynn Folk. But yeah, the Biding of Time, the Pinocchio. We've got Olaf's here as well to be a different route of play, which obviously working with Crab, they're really good. Chernabog, hitting for 2 and with Crab is good, and they check things, and they can also be card draw. We've got Arthur's here, which is just going to apply so much pressure. We're running 2 copies of Bounce. And again, like, as I talked about when we were talking about... what is it? The Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Just this deck bouncing characters, either you're keeping them safe or you're benefiting from rabbits or goats or crabs or maleficents. So yeah, it looks good. Bounce definitely a bit of spice in this list. This one we're seeing 4 copies of Strike a Good Match. Doesn't always come up in these EA Tempo lists. Seeing the Pascals, 2 Crab. Also seeing 2 copies of Pua, who when he's banished, you can shuffle him back into your deck, and he quests for 2. So making sure that we've always got a good supply of 2 lore questers to draw back into. Not the first time Pua's coming up, so well done to them. This list mostly the same as some that we've looked at. We've got the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. We've also got 1 copy of Lucifer, which is the dirtiest card in the game for my money. First place as well, 24 players. Looks good. Well done, Luke Jones. This one looks pretty standard. 2 Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, 2 Pinocchio, so really should be really strong into the mirror. Looks good to me. This one, I don't know how these symbols were caused. I'm guessing this person put them on manually. But deck looks pretty much the same. Again, 2 Pinocchio should have a good mirror. 1 Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo looks good. Yep, so there's all your EA Tempo lists. So congratulations to all of them. Doesn't surprise me that that deck is still doing very well. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. We still need to look at Mufasa. We need to look at Emerald Steel. We need to look at Sapphire Steel, and we need to look at FluteSong. But I'm approaching the hour mark. If I go much over that, the algorithm will hate me for it. And I think it might be nicer to break it down a little bit. So within 24 hours of this video coming out, within 24 hours, I'll have the other half where we'll go through the rest of these lists. Because, of course, we're going through this at a fast pace, but with the amount of decks that we've still got to look at, it would be like lightning quick, and I want to give each deck at least its diligence. So we'll leave it there for now. Again, within 24 hours of this video coming out, I will get to looking at all the other ones that I have. And again, if you compete in a set championship and you haven't sent me a list, please send it my way, and I will add it to the pile, and we'll look at as many as we possibly can before set championship season is done. Hopefully you guys don't mind the style in which we're going through these lists. Obviously, I'm not used to looking at this many lists at a time. It's normally 16 at the most, but I want to go through as many as possible. So let me know, give me some feedback. Are you happy with like the sort of just zooming through them and just highlighting differences? If so, I will continue that on to the next video. But if I do see any comments or suggestions, then I'll take that in mind before I film my next one. But yeah, congratulations to everybody that has won a Stitch. And those of you that competed in set championships and didn't win a Stitch, congratulations. You went, you gave it a go, you gave it your best. Hopefully you learned something, and you take that in and you apply that throughout the rest of your Lorcana career. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.